thing to see that, but I think we need to take it easy. We need to learn to walk before we fly, so we don't crash.
Chike, that's still on Nollywood now.
Yes.
That's part of the creative industry, huge as it is, Joy, and you know this very well. You can decompose the film industry. There are different aspects to it.
Right.
I'm sure there are areas where we have our strengths, and there are areas where we have our weaknesses, whether in terms of hard infrastructure or soft infrastructure. And even the way we organize ourselves is. What, in your opinion, is required for us to do, say in the creative industry now, film in particular, for us to be able to be a magnet for these potential investors?
Yes, I would like to use the analogy of what Larry was talking about in terms of the IT sector. When you're having a target for developers across the country, there's no reason why we cannot do that. Make sure that, for instance, that pretty much all the states in this country, we have very well set up production services companies. So it doesn't have to be concentrated in one space. And so that you can go to a place like Calabar or Oka or Enugu or Zaria or wherever, and there is a production services company where you can walk in and have standards that meet international best practices. If we make that our goal and we empower, I mean, the thing is that we are so creative in Nollywood. The independent practitioners are setting up film academies in this country themselves. They're running it out of their pockets. Let's support those. Let's spread it around. I hear there's one in Benin now. There's one coming up in Enugu, in Lagos, all over the places. But we need to, just like Larry was saying about the developing, breeding a whole new generation of developers across the country and having a massive target that can support not just the Nigerian economy, but global demand. We can actually make Nigeria the hub for African creative industry as well as the global space, because people will come with digital technology. They will find your service. You can edit a Hollywood film if you have the facility in Owerri. They will give it to you and you do it digitally. You know, so there are these things that I think we need to, and they are achievable. If we give it a 2, 3 year, 5 year target, we can make that happen. But let's start with 1 and go to 2 and go to 5.
Okay, you are a worthy ambassador. Now, let's hear from you. I know there's some people who still go to the academy in New York, the Film Academy in New York and California. How can you get people from such institutes to come partner with some of these academies that are coming up, so we stop the movement of producers and actors? You know, some people have this impression that unless you go to New York, unless you go to California, people won't recognize what you have. And yet we have indigenous producers and actors who, without training, are already doing something good with the rudiments they have already. How can we attract these people into the country?
In my opinion, the fundamental question is we don't even need to bother about attracting them. We need to show them that we already have the excellence here. They will come asking us. There is no reason why they cannot come to Nigeria and ask us to bring a trainer to New York. I teach at a university in California. I can tell you, and I'm not trying to down the Americans, but I can tell you that Nigerians are one of the smartest people on the face of the planet. For God's sake, if you look at the statistics in the United States, Nigerians hold the highest number of PhDs across all demographics, including Caucasians, Asians, Black, everybody. So I don't think we need to worry about what they're doing at New York Film Academy. Yes, if we have people that go there to train, great. But we can build, we have the brain power, the capacity, we have the intellectual know-how, the creativity here to build our own Nigerian Film Academy that people will be coming from Brazil and Russia to study. Why not? Is it because they're white that we think it's important? No, we are Nigerians and we have the talent, we have the creative enterprise. So let's support the Benin Film Academy or the Tunde Kalani's Academy. These are geniuses. And
Tunde is doing very well.
Of course.
All right, Chike, thanks a lot. Let's go back to Lagos and Aboyeji, that's in Yoluwa. We'd like you also to speak from the ICT perspective on what is required for us, to create, as they say, the enablers in order to magnetize the seed investment and thereafter see them grow into giant oaks.
Absolutely. I think the way I think about it in terms of the seed investment, it's probably a three-step process. The first is really building great companies. There are a few companies that are showing incredible growth and have been invested in by investors all over the world. I've had the pleasure of leading two of them with Flutterwave and Della. And there are many others, from Paystack to Piggybank to Cowrywise to Kobo 360 to Cars 45. There are many of them. And the reason why I say that's important is ultimately active technology investment ecosystems are actually kickstarted by successful founders. So I personally, every now and then, will invest in small companies. I've made probably many seed investments, not necessarily because I wanted to make money, but because I wanted to encourage other entrepreneurs who were going this path and share my expertise with them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is making it a lot easier for individuals, private individuals, to invest in startups. We still have a lot of work to do with the SEC, with the tax authorities, so that investors, just like anywhere else in the world, can write off loss-making investments. Because the nature of seed investing is that many of these companies do not survive. So if it's a lot less risky for high net worth individuals or just comfortable emerging entrepreneurs and individuals who are just privately interested in this space to invest in the space from a regulatory point of view as well as from a tax advantage point of view, I think you'd see a lot more seed investment. And I think the last thing really is actively building capacity in our universities. Ultimately, the best companies are created by talent, and talent tends to attract investment not just from the country or from people in the country, but from all over the world. And there's a critical battle to fight there, because the reality today is that our university curriculum, even though some reforms have been made, is still not attuned to the realities of today's technology environment. And there's a lot of work that the Education Ministry has to do to reform the curriculum, to make it easier for universities to basically create entrepreneurs right out of school, especially in the technology space, where all that's required is some knowledge of code and a bit of business acumen. And it's very, the presidency has been very supportive, creating the Student Innovation Challenge, encouraging students to look around them and identify problems that they can solve. And I think that that's one step. Obviously, another step would definitely be to work with the private sector and review the curriculum. And that's something that we're going to be working on very actively with the presidency, with the Technology and Creativity Advisory Council, introducing new disciplines to the university curriculum that will make it easier for us to have more talented entrepreneurs emerge directly out of school.
Iyoluwa, thank you very much. Let's bring in again Olarewanju Shibona into this. Again, I want to refer to the first installment of our discussion on this when we had the CEO of NIDA, that's Technology Development Agency. And on that occasion, we asked him, because he was part of the Vice President's delegation on this trip, we're asking him about, let's take a look at the value chain of ICT, software, hardware, and then, of course, piracy issues and then regulation. So, but I want you to focus again on the software aspect without bothering about the hardware. What is there from this trip that is probably now going to help catalyze the critical mass that is required? We know that there are a number of hubs around some of the cities in the country, but what do we need to do to help catalyze that critical mass? And then you have a number of bubbles.
Thank you very much. I think, let me just quickly state this. I think we have overbeaten ourselves as a people, as a country, as as Nigerians. We've actually beaten ourselves down too much. It's too much negativity. But let me just share some success stories. If you think about it, in the US, Nigerians, and especially Nigerians have gone abroad, take the most allocation in terms of minority allocations for technology jobs in Silicon Valley even, and across the US, and also in Europe. So, when they have this positive affirmation where you want more of black African Americans or even other black African countries, Nigerians actually occupy the most in that role. If you look at some of the conversation that His Excellency had with Stanford University, what you find is a lot of the programs are attended by Nigerians. So we have the skills, we have the people, we have the know-how. Somehow, we just haven't, for whatever reason, I think we've overbeaten ourselves. That mindset has to change. There must be a complete mindset shift, whereby we now start having ambassadors. I mean, what I would love to see is ambassadors, success stories, the likes of Inyi, come up, and Nigerians can actually see the fact that this is real, this is really happening. If you think about it, you see success in terms of the music space. No one really has to push anyone to try and be a musician. The success story is there. You look at it, trying to be a footballer. The success story is there. No one chases anyone to go be a footballer. What we must showcase is the success story. I'll share a good story with you also. In 2015, when we came in, we had a program to attract innovation as early as that time, called the Aso Villa Demo Day. There was a particular young startup that wasn't even amongst, it wasn't the top 3, but it was amongst the top 30. He has gone up until now to attract $2 million. He participated in the program in the US. He's attracted $2 million for his program. This is success stories that we're tracking. So if we can make success stories a reality, the other part will come in. Because Nigerians are brilliant. Nigerians are extremely brilliant. And the mindset must change. There must be more good stories. There must be opportunities. Because the business is out there. If you look at why China is such a country to go to today, it's not because China is cheap. It's because China has skilled workforce. More than the US, skilled workforce. India has skilled workforce. That's what we must introduce in our country. We must introduce the capacity in terms of technical skills. But again, mentoring. Part of the game, what we determine to achieve as part of the the technology and creative sector advisory council is the mentoring of skills, the soft skills. Running the business, having the patience, having the longevity mindset, having the other areas where the collaborations where you can learn from each other, where you can share ideas, where you can leverage. So as you build your own solution, it leverages someone else's solution, and you build a conglomerate. That's really the approach. I don't think it's so much the technical know-how. Nigerians are just absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We just need to harness that, and as we do this, then the business will come. Because today, I'm speaking to some startups, and they're already challenged because they're saying to me, oh, the prices of the developers have gone up. So I say it's a good problem. I love that problem. Because what it means is there's a demand. So don't worry. What we need to do is churn out more of these developers. And then everyone will find its level. But we cannot then start and say, oh, let's not encourage startups to go abroad. No. If you want to go abroad, go abroad. You become a diaspora and you send money back home. However, we will build enough of it. Let's become a hub. I want to see a hub where we outsource knowledge. That's what I want to see. So I think it's an exciting time.
Oh, well, Shibano, thanks a lot. Very quickly, we're pressed for time now. We want to just read out some of the tweets that have come in. I just take a couple of them. Joy, this is from Mike Ayankwo again. It says the gains of the Vice President's visit to the U.S. cannot be overemphasized. We have many brilliant people in this country. Nigerian students are making waves both within and outside the country. Those talents should be recognized for developmental efforts in the country in all areas of national life.
And this one is from Dele Jack Solomon Merge. He tweets, as a nation, we must improve on ease of doing business in Nigeria. This is because issues such as intellectual property theft and lack of investment guarantee are some of the reasons why many investors have avoided Nigeria in the past. And the federal government should continue to address these concerns and try to allay the fears of willing and potential investors by assuring them of Nigeria's openness for business for the visit of the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to Silicon Valley to translate into economic progress in Nigeria.
All right, that's the most that we can take in terms of viewer reactions, as well as, of course, a discussion segment with our guests. We'd like to appreciate all three of them, two of them in Lagos, Iyoluwa Aboyeji, who is CEO and co-founder of Flutterwave Incorporated, ICT Orientation. We'd like to thank you. We also would like to appreciate Olarinwanji Oshibona, who is Senior Special Assistant to the President on ICT. Gentlemen, thanks a lot. You joined us from Lagos Network Center. And right here with us in the Abuja studios, big thanks to Chike Nwafia, who is President, Resource Media Group and Founding Director, Silicon Valley African Film Festival in California. Chike, thanks a lot for your insights.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. All
right, so that does it for our two topics for discussion this morning. Let's go back now to sports with Tanzania's newest coach, that's Nigeria's Emmanuel Amunike, appointing also a new goalkeepers trainer. And in tennis, Ostapenko exits early at Rogers Cup.